Welcome to the Brie Pod. I'm here with me, Brie. So it's been a while since I've done a video. I usually don't like to share myself on video because I'm not really feeling the most, uh, you know, beautiful because I'm momming it up over here. And I know that's not an excuse, but I've learned with breastfeeding that it's so much easier to have either clothing that is for breastfeeding, to have just a jacket on with nothing underneath, to just zip up, zip down, or a crop top, really. So I'm not always in my best form when I'm making these podcast episodes, and that may be a lot to share, but it's just the reality of breastfeeding. Like it's so much easier to just be like, whoop, whoop, here we go. Um, but today I decided to be on video because it's the end of 2022, at least coming up, and it's time to put a year in review because next month is the start of season 3 of the Brie Pod, which is crazy to say. Crazy to even look back and just even going back 2 years ago, when I started this podcast, which it was officially put out on January 1st, and you listen to the first trailer, I was in a very dark place. At that time in life, I didn't know if I could have children. I had multiple negative pregnancy tests at that point. I had endo flares that literally put me in bed for days on end. I lost so much sick time when I would go to work and have endo flares happen, and I just had so much going on at that point. I did not have a voice. I was afraid to speak. I was afraid of what people would think. And I was afraid of me being genuine because the genuine me meant I'd lose people, or that's what I thought. So as progressed, and started to get my voice, I shared ultimate secrets with you guys. I shared my deepest, darkest, hardest moments in my life. I shared things about myself that I didn't even know was a thing. I didn't know I had an eating disorder until I kind of put myself into a review and it was like, oh, okay, I guess I do. I guess I am restrictive. Um, and then I decided that I did not want to turn to medication to help me. And that doesn't mean that I'm looking down on anybody that needs it because there are people that do. But for me, I wanted to try something more holistic before I returned to medication. Now, mind you, I am not a doctor. I do not know what is good for other people. I only know what is good for myself. And at that time, what I wanted to do was to try the holistic route. That is that. There's no judgment, no, I'm better, no, nothing, nothing like that. So when I chose the holistic route, that meant I needed to reevaluate different aspects of my life because you have the physical, you have the emotional toll, and your mental mindset. So as you guys know, if you've been following my journey, I got myself a therapist with the help of my friend, um, who recommended her, and I'm forever grateful. You know who you are. Um, and we started with the mind and the body. Uh, and I don't mean I mean like the mindset of the body too, because with um with an eating disorder, that physical and the mind they're not friends. So we worked on that. We worked on um where I was at because I had a lot of secrets that I had held in, that I thought that was not affecting me. And when you have shame and guilt and things kept inside, um, it can physically come after you. And we learned in this podcast, as I shared it on many episodes, that the more I kept it in, the sicker I was. More acid reflux, IBS, um, endo flares were definitely more intense. Um, I mean, it affected me physically. And if you want to know what secrets I'm talking about, you can go back to those episodes and check them out. Because um, that's not really where I'm going. I have come to a place of healing now where it's not to say that it's forgotten on what has happened, but I'm able to face it and just be like, okay, this is what I felt then. Right now, this is how I feel. And what that feeling is at this moment is I'm calmer. I feel lighter. I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulder. I've got my voice back. Um, and honestly, when I say I got my voice back, I don't even know if I really let myself have a voice. So I have a voice. Um, and I feel good about that. And I'm able to see things differently, than where I was when I first started this. And I've been able to process, the different things that have occurred, with more grace and more love for myself and respect for myself because I did not have a lot of that. Um, so as I look back on the years, because it's been two now, which is crazy for this, I can't believe how far I've come. Um, it's really interesting because I had a reading done, and I know some of you are not about this, and that's okay. I'm not asking you to be. But I had a reading done, and she was telling me that my angels wanted me to know that the first time around when everything went down, I was crawling out. And I had blood, sweat, tears crawling out. Obviously, in an imagery sense, not physically. If you think about it, in some ways, I guess I kind of was with the sickness and illnesses and stuff that I was facing then. So I was crawling out. But now, she said, what my angels want me to do is to stand tall and to walk. Because the thing is, everything that happened doesn't mean it just goes away. Doesn't mean that, okay, out of sight, out of mind. No, it's still going to be there. There's still going to be triggers. There's still going to be a bit of hurt there. But in the healing process, instead of trying to like crawl yourself out and be like, I just got to get out of here. I just got to go. I'm now in a place of healing where I'm going to stand up and I'm just going to walk through and I'm going to look at it from a different perspective of all the things that happened. And instead of looking at it as with the place where I was physically in it in that moment, feeling the chaos, now that chaos is over. It's blown over and things are healing and bringing out a better place. So now I'm walking back through this area, but I'm standing tall and I'm looking at myself and saying, wow, you have so much strength. You have come so far. You can share your voice now. You are not afraid to share your voice. You are just a beautiful soul inside and out. And some of you may be like, girl, that's wicked. What is that word? Vain of you. But truly, you should, and hopefully if you're not in this place, you should be able in your life to look at yourself and be like, you know what? High five. High five, babe. You did. an amazing job with your life. Yes. Did you make mistakes? Are there things that you've done that maybe you're not proud of? But does that mean that you're unworthy because you made those mistakes? No. It doesn't. Your worth and your value are not defined by the mistakes that you've made or the lessons that you've learned. Your worth is always there. And people have their opinions on worth, but really, it's important to know your worth. Because if you don't, you're going to be, I mean, no matter what, we're always going to be our biggest hypocrites, but it depends on how much of that voice that's mean you let in. Because that shame and guilt and hurt from yourself is worse than your worst enemy. So it's important to see that value. And there are moments when in your mind, you've got to be able to say to yourself, you know what? That's enough. We don't need to go there. We don't. And these are the things that I have learned in the past 2 years of growth. I've learned that, um, you know, there's nothing wrong with having a sense of love for yourself. There's nothing wrong to have worth for yourself. And it does not make you cocky, vain, or rude to feel that way, or selfish. That would be one of the biggest words. We throw that word around too much and we don't use it properly. And I do talk about that in a few episodes back as well. So if you want to know more about that, you can go back there too as well. But I bring all of this up because my year in review is just crazy to me. Everything that I was praying for and that I have wanted, everything that I cried over, everything that I fought hard to get. And when I say everything, I just mean, for example, having a baby, it happened. It took a lot of work. It was not an easy road. It looks easy to some, you know, because it's easy to look at someone and be like, "Oh, well, you just had to blah blah blah, and that's it." No, there were many intricacies that occurred that made this happen, and I'm grateful for every single bit of it. I'm grateful for the journey that I took. I'm grateful for when I fell, that I decided to get up with help because before I didn't want help. Before I thought I'm supposed to be a rock, I'm supposed to be strong, I'm supposed to keep it to myself, and I'm only here to help others, not to have others help me. But I've learned that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to be selfish and work on things. And that's how this all came about. I had the therapist, I had a physical trainer, I had a nutritionist, I had a podcast coach, I had um I had a like this healing of the womb session. I had moon seeds to help my um period be consistent. I had a lot of stuff that I did just to get to where I am today. And focusing on the teeth. I've been working on that as well. So it's crazy to look back and to think that it would work because I didn't know if it would work. I was so desperate to have a child. I was so desperate for someone else to need me to feel that mother-child bond that I didn't know what it would take to get to there. I didn't know if I'd have to end up looking in other directions. But then I can't pinpoint down what happened, to say how I got pregnant. I don't know if it's because I calmed down. I don't know if it's because I had a dog. I don't know if it's because uh mentally I was able to get to where I needed to be with the help of the physical aspect, the food aspect, and um therapy aspect. I can't tell you exactly what brought me where I am now, but I can say it was worth it. I'm beyond grateful, and this podcast, I think it helped too, because I don't like to write that much. I don't like to mm, meditate that much, but I do like this podcast to be able to voice how I feel, to say what I think, to say what's on my mind. And it's easier for me to articulate it in words than writing because in writing, my grammar is trash. Oh, I mean, I know I could get better. And I know that reading actually makes you better with grammar, but I just like, I don't know, podcasting seemed more of my style. And I needed it. I needed podcasting to show me that my voice is valuable as well. And what I don't mean like the sound of it, because the sound that I hear of my voice and the sound of that you hear are completely different. I prefer the one that I hear myself, not what you guys hear. So I apologize. It just is what it is. But I'm just talking about being able to hear myself say what I was afraid to say and hear it and feel it and then look at it. Obviously not physically, but you know what I mean. And it's been a beautiful year. I can't say that it's been all highs because in every lifetime, in every new chapter, there's going to be boop, 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 you know, ups and downs. But the good outweighed the bad. Um, my son is here. He's going to be 3 months old on the 17th. I am in absolute love with him. He is such a beautiful blessing. Um, I consider him to be my rainbow baby. And I understand that when it comes to a rainbow baby, that is when you've had a miscarriage or have lost your baby, and then that next baby that comes into your life is like the rainbow because it's like the baby prior kind of sent the new baby like, here's this for you. That's that calming after the storm, that beautiful rainbow. Not to discredit the baby prior, but it's just a very beautiful outlook on um something so heartbreaking and awful. Um, but for me, I have not had a miscarriage. At least I don't know if I have, because there are ectopic um pregnancies and there are things that where you could have been pregnant and you just didn't know. I don't know if that has happened. But I do look at my son as a rainbow baby because out of all the years that I had been struggling to have a baby and all the years being infertile, I really felt he was that blessing, that rainbow child, um, that was given to me because there was a lot of hurt and heartbreak and every time you saw a negative pregnancy test, it felt like a loss, a failure, is not a great place feeling. So to me, he is a rainbow baby, but if that is disrespectful to use, then I would say he is my blessing. He is my miracle baby because I had no idea. I didn't think that he would get to be a part of my life. So as I look back on these years, I am thankful, I am grateful, and I am happy, and I feel the love that I can't describe. It's overwhelming. It's almost a little too overwhelming, as I've said a few times in these episodes, but it's beautiful. And with the podcast, I'm grateful for all of you that have followed my story, that have stuck with me through this, even through the times that I went kind of mute and I didn't post anything yet. And now with changing the schedule from every Wednesday to every other Wednesday, I feel like it's a lot more helpful for me because I'm able to be present with my son. It's not to say that like an episode is making me not be with my son, but I've realized the value of the present moment and how much it means to me and how important it is. But I do not want to give up on the podcast because the podcast has been so enlightening. It's been so it's been so good for me. I've had so many people reach out and say that they have been in the same position or they understand what I have gone through, or it's been nice to have that connection with others because sometimes in life you tend to forget that there are other people out there that have had to go through these things as well, had struggled through the certain things that you may be struggling with, and they may not want to speak it out, and that's okay. It's not on how I do it. It's on how what feels good to you for your own healing, what you want to do. I just want to share, you know, in the hopes that it helps, or sometimes it's just for myself. Like sometimes I'll listen to my episode and just take it in to help me look at myself. Now, I'm not saying I'm some perfect healed person that's like, I don't feel anything. I blah blah blah. Um, Nothing like that. No, I'm just I'm growing in my healing process. And that's it. We will always forever be healing, always forever be growing, always forever be changing and evolving because that's what we do. So, will I make more mistakes? Yes. 100%. I don't know the I don't have a guide on how to be a perfect person or a perfect mom. That shit doesn't exist. So, of course, it's not gonna be rainbows and butterflies. There's gonna be more hurt. There's gonna be more hurdles. There's gonna be more mountains. But I think that I have a better view in a sense of how I'm going to react to them. It's not to say it won't be something that's challenging, but I definitely feel like the mindset that I have today versus the mindset 2 years ago versus the mindset 2 years before that and so on, it's a different Brie. This Brie that you're meeting today is not the same Brie, is a new Brie. She's standing tall. She's walking back through um that chaos that where basically it's all, she's standing tall and she's gonna walk through it and not run, not crawl. Um, and that's where we're at right now. We are in a place of moving forward, growing, being a mother to my son, teaching him as much as I can with the understanding that, there are things that he's going to do in his life that are going to be hard and difficult. And I just hope that I can be there as his mom, supporting him in the best way that I can and just letting him know that in life we're going to probably disappoint each other, but the love will always be there. There will always be love. Um, and I'm gonna have to learn how to not be too helicopter mom vibes. And understand that he has to be able to live his life and learn from his mistakes, which is going to be wicked hard because what I'm learning now and I didn't realize prior is that um I have this overwhelming sense of wanting to like live his life for him and be like, okay, this is what you wouldn't want to do because I've been down this route. But that's not fair because had someone done that to me, how would I be where I am today? So, of course, there is the aspect of parenting. I'm not saying that there are going to be things that I'm like, good job, like I'm still going to do what I need to do, but that's where I'm at. And that's where I'm going. And I'm excited to bring you on this next chapter. Jaw surgery is going to be happening probably this year of 2023. Um, and so many things to come. So thank you for following in this year in review. Thank you for being a part of my life. And I appreciate all of you who have been here with me and continue to go with me because season 3 is absolutely coming. Because why stop now? So, with that, you are loved, you are valued, you are worthy, and I am proud of you. Until next time on the Brie Pod. Bye.